Portland to pay Urban Alchemy $50 million to run mass homeless encampments in the city of Portland. $50 million. Now, it's a company out of California. They run all kinds of stuff in California. How is the homelessness issue going in California? One might ask. Not all that great. Not all that great. So Portland, in their infinite wisdom, decided, oh, let's get a company from down there because things aren't going well there. Things aren't going well here. We can do whatever together at the same time. Spend lots of money and not get any results. That's what it seems like we got going on, right? Let's get into it. But I've got a barn burner of a story here on a Urban Alchemy employee. Let's read that first. Let's go there. You're going to enjoy this one. Let's just see who we're hiring to bring into Portland that's not working down in California. Here we go. Urban Alchemy worker who fired gun on busy San Francisco street is in line for a promotion. I'm going to book through this because, all right, here's the photo we're looking at, kids. Look at this. This is the guy who's going to be running the homelessness deal. I mean, he's one of a team that's going to be running the 50 million in Portland. This is him. This is 2 years ago. He's got a gun. He's shooting at people. He's in a firefight. Yeah, okay. An Urban Alchemy worker who fired 8 shots into a busy Tenderloin street in San Francisco is in line for a promotion to become the nonprofit's director of community and engagement, according to court documents. I'm sure that'll work out fine. I mean, it's jobs for all. Darnell Houston, who is currently an Urban Alchemy supervisor and was on duty at the time of the April 2021 shooting, 2 years ago, folks, said he acted in self-defense after 3 individuals had approached him and fired a bullet that grazed his leg. Houston then retrieved a gun from his car and engaged in a shootout with the 3 individuals, causing bystanders to run and hide for safety, court documents say. Well, when somebody's shooting at you with a gun, running and hiding for your safety is pretty much your only priority at that moment. So here's our shooter again, right here. He's shooting at people willy-nilly in a street. Here's somebody running to get behind a car. Here's somebody already hitting the sidewalk. Here's somebody down on the ground. Make yourself flat. And here's somebody else just booking it out of there, right? And this is a supervisor for a nonprofit that's going to take care of Portland's homeless population. All right. Houston pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm last year. He was already a felon. So we're already hiring a felon who recently had a shootout in an alley or a street and was sentenced to time served on Thursday for the 3 months he spent in San Francisco County Jail. According to his attorney, Houston will spend 3 years on probation as a condition of his release. All right, so you've got a convicted felon that had a gun, that engaged in a firefight, and now he's a supervisor with Urban Alchemy. All right, are you getting where we're going with this? All may not be normal here, right? This is. His attorney argued that Houston acted out of character in this incident and that he feared for his life. So he, instead of running like all of the other people, he got his gun and just started engaging. We're going to crank off some rounds here. He told the court that his client was armed in response to violence that he experienced growing up in the Bayview Hunters Point neighborhood. All right, so now we are clearly just justifying actions based on his experience of what he grew up with. That doesn't mean that you can chase after people with a gun and shoot them. No, it does not. This is literally, you are justifying. It's like, well, I did something to that individual because they made me mad. And it's like, okay, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And what we're saying here is that this individual, because of where he grew up, it's okay that he shoots people. Is that what we're saying? I mean, kind of sounds like that, right? Urban Alchemy's chief operating officer, Bayron Wilson wrote in a letter of support to the courts that Houston, our shooter, excels at the skills of, okay, get this. This is funny. This is classic. Houston excels at the skills of de-escalation. Well, I mean, if you mean running after some people that just shot you with the gun and then shooting at them, de-escalation. My understanding of de-escalation was something other than that, but okay. All right. I'm pretty much going to let that slide. Customer service. I'm sure if this guy's chasing down people, shooting at him, he's got excellent customer service skills. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's great at customer service. Conflict resolution. Honestly, this guy is good at conflict resolution. Chasing people down with the gun and shooting at them is the exact opposite of good skills in conflict resolution. It's the opposite of de-escalation. It's the opposite. It's the polar opposite. But these are the folks that you're hiring to deal with people with drug addiction issues that are mentally unstable, that also have a criminal background, that we know guns are a known quantity within the homeless encampment population. All right. Okay. Yeah, all right. And trauma-informed care. That's the fourth characteristic that this guy is known, that in a letter of support, his supervisor wrote. He's good at trauma-informed care. Is that after he shoots them or before? I'm confused. Because if you shoot somebody, that's the opposite of de-escalation. It doesn't even factor into customer service. Conflict resolution? No, you are creating conflict. That's conflict creation is what that is. Not resolution. That's conflict creation. And trauma-informed care. Again, I go with, you shoot somebody, is that trauma-informed care? I don't think so. Anyway, Wilson said Houston is in good standing to be the next director of community engagement. Portland, you must be pumped. You got to be pumped you're getting this individual as a member of, the team that's going to come up and rescue you from your homelessness issues. Darnell is genuine and a benefit to any community, Wilson said. It's an honor to have him on the team, and his de-escalation skills and his trauma, whatever. The nonprofit is known for hiring people with criminal histories because that'll always work out well. I am not against hiring people with criminal histories, but I also believe that they need to show that they are on the right path to doing what they need to do to be a conforming member of society again, right? You can't be blasting caps at people on some street that, shot at you. And the real question is, why were they shooting at him? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. And he spent time in jail, 3 months. Okay. All right. I'd love to have some more information here. Like what's going on here? So nonprofits known for hiring people with criminal history is contending that people who have spent time in jail or on the streets are well equipped to compassionately de-escalate potentially violent situations or create them themselves. Yeah. That's what we got going on. I am not making this up. I am just reading the news. And this is the kind of scenario you want to walk into. He's mainly a good guy. He's a convicted felon. That little whole thing of shooting people. I mean, we don't worry about that too much. He's got good people skills. Yeah. People really respect him when he has a gun and he goes like this to him. Many neighbors in the Tenderloin have applauded the organization's ability to clean up the neighborhood. However, several of the organization's workers have been involved in violent confrontations, and the city is planning to expand the nonprofit's presence in downtown San Fran. Urban Alchemy did not respond to a request for comment by publication time. All right, we spent enough time on that one. Let's get into this one. Keep in mind, that is who is going into Portland. City of Portland is set up to pay millions to a Cali-based nonprofit to run designated campsites to get people off the streets and connected to services. In a Wednesday city council session, Mayor Ted Wheeler and city commissioners voted unanimously to grant Urban Alchemy a 5-year, $50 million contract to run large outdoor shelter areas. Okay, so Mayor Ted, he's got to do something. So he came up with this plan. All right, we're going to have 5 of these encampments. They're going to have somewhere between 250 and yada, yada, hundreds of people per camp. It's going to work out great. It's going to be great. We're going to get them all together. We're going to, take all these people off the streets. So many of the folks that are running on the streets, I mean, almost all of them, they don't want to be in encampments because they can't do what they want to do, which is just take drugs and steal stuff to pay for drugs. Period. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as that. So building all these camps, paying $50 million for people who don't want to go into encampments. I mean, it's an upside down harebrained idea. It just is. But it's something that politicians can point to and say to their constituents, I did that. And now they're going to have to go, well, yep, we hired that group. I mean, this is not going to go well. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't even have to be a real estate guy to figure this one out. This is not going to go in the right direction. I mean, de-escalation, can you believe the letter of recommendation that this joker got? I mean, really? Really? Because in the private sector, if you run after somebody and shoot at somebody, that is considered some pretty antisocial behavior that has felony written all over it. You don't get a raise. You don't get a really nice job letter. That doesn't happen. You know why? Because you shouldn't be receiving a recommendation from your supervisor. You should have your ass fired. That's how it goes. Now, if somebody wants to do their time, go through all that, do their cost to society. All right. All right. I'm listening, but this was 2 years ago that shooting happened. It's okay. He's fine. He spent 3 years in the can. He'll be good. He's okay. In its proposal, Urban Alchemy says it's capable of running up to 5 of these kinds of sites. I'm sure they are, because they say that their, employees are, they're good at trauma-based whatever after shooting somebody or shooting at them. He's not even a good shot, right? He cranked off 8 rounds, didn't hit anybody. He's 0 for 8. What does this guy do that's, positive? Don't really know. Take a paycheck. How about that? The city is planning to eventually construct 6 of these camps. According to the contract the city has with Urban Alchemy, the nonprofit says it has 28 contracts that total $61 million, and the contracts are in 4 different cities with 9 different government agencies. I'm sure that's all just working out swimmingly. Just stunning. Because the whole basis of it is providing housing for people who typically are not going to accept housing. And if they do, another one of my podcasts. I'll give you a little. San Francisco to pay Hotel Whitcomb $19.5 million in property damage when they rented out those hotel rooms to the homeless folks during the pandemic. 19.5 large because homeless people destroyed a whole bunch of hotel rooms. All right. So yeah, I'm sure this is going to work out much better than that. Why wouldn't it? It's mind-blowing, isn't it? All right, got to do something. Let's hire those guys because California's homelessness population has gotten smaller? No, got bigger. Urban Alchemy and the city have said that this site can hold up to 100 tents and serve up to 150 people. However, a spokesperson for Mayor Wheeler confirmed with Fox 12 that the site will actually have 140 sleeping pods available, which is a requirement in order for the site to receive funding from the state. Tents will still be available for those who want them. So they went through this whole tents, pods, something else. The whole thing is just a train wreck disaster. You're not getting the people the help that they need. Treatment is housing. How about that? That's what these folks need, but they don't want it. They want to continue doing their lifestyle. So in order to coddle them and allow them to continue doing that lifestyle, we're going to pay $50 million. Portland's going to pay $50 million to have a bunch of convicted felons come up and run programs for them. I wonder how that'll work out. I mean, probably pretty good, right? I mean, when you go to Yelp and you try and find a contractor to do a job for you, one of the top things on your list of requirements is convicted felon, isn't it? With recent history of violence, specifically gun violence. Yeah. All right. I mean, see where I'm going with that? Yeah. All right. A city staffer said at Wednesday's session that back in January, there was a competitive bidding process for nonprofits to try and get the contract for the city's mass shelter sites. And only 2 organizations even submitted a proposal. There's all these guys are, they're heads of these big nonprofits and they're going, Portland? Oh, no. Hell to the no. We ain't touching Portland. I mean, they're even worse than our city, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to bash on Portland, but Portland, I'm going to bash on Portland. Portland, I believe, pound for pound, has the worst homelessness issue in the United States because they've allowed it to be. They basically just encouraged it. Yeah, they don't even wait for you to ask a tent. They just set up tents on the sidewalk. Yeah. So, hey, there you go. And they're just trying to collect homeless people. And the clear favorite was San Francisco-based Urban Alchemy. It's the only entity that I've heard of, big-scale entity, nonprofit that I've heard of, that other than Skid Row, Homeless Authority or whatever, that just biffed however many hotel units in San Fran. Because no, that was Skid Row. That was L.A. And they went under. I can't make a go of it because we're a nonprofit. And, nonprofits, we don't make any money and we don't really know how to manage money. Don't really care because, it's a nonprofit. But give me my paycheck. All is good. We'll make this better. Yeah. Okay. So we believe, based on the preponderance of information and evidence and what we're hearing from people who are homeless on our streets, that this has very good chance of being a successful model, said Mayor Ted. Now, we've heard Ted talk about the 90-day reset and safer summer PDX and, I think people are having a difficult time taking Mayor Ted seriously at this point in time. I mean, I'm willing to give him a shot, but when you're hiring folks like this, they, have proven in a court of law that they are not capable of de-escalation, that they are not capable of any kind of intervention on a positive note. In fact, the polar opposite of that's who you hire. And it's not just this one guy. It's the entire company is like, yeah, we'll give you a shot because we think that you can be, all right. It's like when you send people to prison and if they've already got quite a record, they're going to come out with a master's in crime, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. So now you've got the master in crime, a convicted felon, dealing with people who are actually doing criminal activities to pay for their addictions. How do you think that's going to go? What direction is that going to head? You got the blind leading the blind, and I'm not trying to put down blind people, but you know what I mean? It's like, all right, where are we going? Don't know, don't care. We're going to get there though. And when I look at where I am legally blind without corrective eye vision. So no, I don't have a problem with that. I literally, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't find my glasses, I am lucky to make it out of the bedroom into the bathroom. I am so blind. I've tripped on stuff, you name it. I kind of literally do one of these numbers when I get around. Cause my eyes are so bad. And when I look at where we are today with almost 200 people dying on the streets last year, I'm sitting here going, why the hell wouldn't we try this? Okay. Well, I can think of a couple of things here, but we're not going to get into that. According to Urban Alchemy, the first site in Southeast Portland will cost $5.1 million per year to run. And under $4.3 million of those funds will go towards paying the salaries of the staff on site, which totals 40 people. According to Urban Alchemy's proposal, it's like our joker of a King County Regional Housing Authority who just recently stepped down, Mark Doan. He was asking for like $12 billion. And our current budget is like $250 million. It's just like, what are you doing? What are you even thinking? I need this much money because I hired 100 straight people and 30 of them get paid over $100,000 a year. That was some of Jonathan Cho. That's what he came up with. And it's like, okay, these folks do not want the help that people think they do. They just want to do drugs. So bringing in all these workers, bringing in, these tiny homes, bringing in pods, they're just going to tear them apart like that San Francisco hotel I talked about. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Keep on going. I'm sure it'll work out. Yeah. I mean, these are not difficult topics to tear apart. They're just not. But the real reality is, in California, in Washington, in Oregon, don't have the ability to get people the help that they need, on top of the fact that these people don't want the help in the first place. So, kind of part of that whole harm reduction thing that I talked about last week and showed some people talking about harm reduction in Seattle is that people in harm reduction believe that if people want to take drugs, they should be able to. And yes and no. Have the choice to take drugs, but if you start to get to that point where you are costing taxpayers in immense amounts of money, I call nonsense on that. From the standpoint of 911 calls, OD calls, we are now hearing commercials on the radio for Narcan. I don't know if you are, but I do all the time. You know how marketing is so targeted now? And there's this one commercial where, the woman is just so nice and she's so understanding. And when you OD'd, I felt so sorry for you. I just wanted to bring you back and I'll always be there for you. That's why I always have Narcan on me. And it's like you're dealing with a drug addict who just OD'd and you're trying to justify this as, hey, let's be compassionate towards everybody and carry our Narcan around. Instead of, how about get that person some help instead of Narcan? In the form of treatment services. But we're not going down that road. Instead, we're going to go with, well, we know you're going to OD, therefore we're going to do this. We know you're going to be homeless, so let's hire a convicted felon as your supervisor and we'll make everything all right, because that's just going to go swimmingly. Yeah. I mean, this is crazy talk. To me, this is crazy talk. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. No. That's just flat not happening. This isn't getting any better in Portland, especially if you hire these guys. And they already have, right? Contract's been signed. They're going to do it. And it's like, all right, well, get out the popcorn. Let's watch this bad boy unravel, because that's what you've got going on. And the real reality is they don't have any other alternatives. And when I say that, I speak on behalf of all of the towns out there, all of the cities out there that are struggling with homelessness issues, because nobody has the mental health care facilities. Nobody has enough facilities to go around in these communities that have allowed homelessness to take place and allowed drugs to be decriminalized to the point where it's just a free for all, where they've allowed criminal activity to be, decriminalized to the point where it's not a big deal. And that just attracts the ecosystem that we know as homelessness. And now you're attracting, big $1 million, $50 million contracts to work on it. To me, it's a fantastic thing from the standpoint of, oh my gosh, that is so wild. You're going to hire somebody to come $50 million to come up and 140, we just talked about that, 140 pods. How many homeless people are there in Portland right now? 6,600, meaning in reality, you've probably got 12,000, and you're going to pay $50 million, and one compartment of that is going to be 140 pods. What? Those numbers make zero sense. So Portland getting ahead of the homelessness issue that they've got. Yeah, it's going absolutely nowhere. It's not going anywhere. That's what I see, based on what has just been presented to me in the news. Now, I also do cover these topics, all the time. So I'm kind of bringing in, all right, we'll see how that one goes. Okay. All right. Yeah. That doesn't make a lot of sense. This one particularly makes zero sense at all. And this one individual that we read about who, got the letter of recommendation, you're good at de-escalating. He's not the only one. They've got a whole bunch of folks with a laundry list of criminal activity going in to deal with criminals. So yeah, like I said, how's that going to work out? Well, what I always say when there's nothing else you can really say is I'm going to have podcasts for days, weeks, months, years. Here we go. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the like button if you like this video. Check us out on Discord. And hey, if you're new, and I've had a whole bunch of new folks come on board, and every morning at 9 o'clock, I'm typically at a premiere here on YouTube. You can send me a message. You can say, Sean, you are a moron. And I'll say, thanks so much. Appreciate you being here. Something like that. Now, everybody's pretty cool that's in the premiere because they're like-minded folks. You don't have to say anything. You can just go to the premiere and watch the comments on the side. You can make comments, and it's the first time that video will come out. And we premiere 2 Monday through Friday, and 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. But the 9 a.m. shows on Monday through Friday, I am typically there. I might miss 1 a week, something like that, but I am typically there, and I'll make comments. I'll say hi to all the regulars, and there's a bunch of people. This morning, I think we had 253 people on the premiere. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little community and reasonable, very reasonable. All right, enough babble. Thanks for being here. I'll catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.